photographs of the contents of bins.
Let me just show you here, Your Honor, may I approach?
You may.
Your Honor, just for the record, it's already been admitted as evidence, and this is State's Exhibit, thank you for the State's Exhibit number 100. I could just publish that for the jury.
You may.
I'm sorry, we're going to start with 99 first. So this is State's Exhibit number 99. Do you recall taking this particular photograph?
No, I do not.
Okay, that would have been another crime scene analyst.
Probably.
All right, and then I'm not going to show you the next one. I'm assuming it's the same thing. Outside of the photographs that we mentioned here, what else did you do in the course and scope of your duties as a crime scene analyst on this particular night?
That was it. I photographed the scene. I took notes. I recovered the one item, which was the 3 pieces of paper, and that was it.
All right, thank you. I have no further questions of the witness, Your Honor.
Okay. Any redirect, Mr. DiGiacomo?
Not from the State.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, any questions for this witness? Okay. All right, Mr. Scott, question from one of our jurors. What piece of evidence were you expecting to find in a location that was different from 30 years ago? Why would you expect it to be intact 30 years later?
Could you repeat that?
I can. What piece of evidence were you expecting to find in a location that was different from 30 years ago? Why would you expect it to be intact 30 years later?
Not sure I fully understand the question. I wasn't expecting to find anything. I was just there to respond and document and photograph what the detectives were interested in.
Okay.
And I don't really understand the second part of the question.
Mr. DiGiacomo, any follow-up?
No.
Mr. Stamps, any follow-up?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Scott. You are free to go.
Thank you.
State, who's your next witness?
Stevie Fellowell.
Stevie.
You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this section shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
You may be seated. May I please have you state and spell your first and last name for the record?
First name is Stevie, S-T-E-A-V-I-E. Last name is Fellowbaum, F-E-L-A-B-O-M.
Ma'am, how are you employed?
As a senior crime scene analyst with LVMPD.
We just heard from Jeff Scott. Do you have similar qualifications and backgrounds as Mr. Scott?
Yes, sir.
Were you the relief crime scene analyst that responded to 2204 Maple Shade Street in Henderson?
Yes, sir.
And did you document with your own photographs, but also reviewed all of the photographs taken at that crime scene prior to your testimony here today?
Yes.
I'm going to go through some of those photographs here and start with 93. What are we looking at? Oop. Thank you, Jessica. So, not that you'll need it for this one, but that mouse up there can allow you to point. It just don't click it, okay? What is this?
That's going to be the exterior of the residence.
I guess we should go, I'll do 95 first. 95. What does this appear to be?
The northeast master bedroom.
And then 94 is a shot from the opposite direction.
Yes.
Sitting on top of that case over here, there appears to be a container for a bottle of Dom Perignon.
Yes.
96. What are we looking at?
That's going to be the dresser on the opposite side of the same bedroom.
And at the bottom here,
There were several books pulled out when I arrived.
one of them is Compton Street Legend, one of them is Murder Rap, the last one is The Confused Mind of a Drug Dealer.
Yes.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
In addition, 097, was there a Vibe magazine?
Yes.
Did you wind up collecting the Compton Street Legend and the Vibe magazine?
Yes, sir.
Now in the garage, 098, there were 2 bins.
Yes.
And when those bins were opened, 100, oh, I bet you this is 99 first. Try 99. Looked like a number of personal effects that were kept in those.
Yes, sir.
And number 100. The bottom one also had a bunch of personal effects.
Yes.
Do you know what happened to those 2 containers at the scene?
The detectives recovered them.
So detectives took those 2 bins and left the scene with them.
Correct.
This is exhibit number 101. What are we looking at here?
That was a jacket in one of the closets.
And on the left, well, I guess we'll zoom in just a little bit. On the left side, it looks like it says Reg 64 trays, and on the right side it says Keefe D.
Yes.
And then if we skip to 103, the back of it says South Side City of Compton.
Yes.
After you collect an item, do you photograph it either at the scene or back at the lab?
Yes.
Showing you 104. What are we looking at?
That's the photograph that I took of the Compton Street Legend book once I had recovered it and taken it back to the lab.
And then 105.
It's the back of the same book.
106.
That's the copy of the Vibe magazine after I had recovered it and taken it back to the lab.
And 107.
It's the date and barcode on the cover.
So it looks like the November 96 edition of the Vibe magazine.
Correct.
Oh, ma'am. Previously opened off keys, but let me show you. State's proposed exhibit number 148. Is that your evidence package from that night?
Yes.
And among what else you recovered, would you expect to find both the book and the Vibe magazine inside there had it still been sealed?
Yes.
So let me start first with the Vibe magazine. This is State's Proposed Exhibit number 140. And which is, you recognize the bag on the outside?
Yes.
And what is that?
That's the identifying information that we put on interior packages to include the event number, my P number and initials, the date that it was recovered, and the item number.
And then I'm going to show you now 140A. What is that?
That looks like the Vibe magazine that I recovered.
So that's the actual Vibe magazine that you end up recovering out of that house.
If it came from that package, yes.
Move to admit 140A.
Any objection?
No objection.
So admitted.
I'm going to show you the outside of this. This is, 139. Do you recognize that?
Yes, same identifying information, listing it as my item number 2.
And then if you pull that item out, what would you expect to find?
The Compton Street legend book.
Showing it to you. 139A. Does that appear to be the book?
Yes.
And I want to show you, you took pictures of the front and the back.
Correct.
The back has no picture on it, right?
No photograph now.
Okay, it just has some words.
Yes.
And then if you flip through this entire book, there's no interior pictures in this book. Does that seem accurate?
Yes, sir.
Because I moved in 148, correct?
Any objection?
Oh, I think I did move
They already moved in. Okay, thank you.
I think the rest of this, we've agreed we're not going to move in. So
Understood.
I would pass this.
You may cross.
Thank you.
I have no objection to all of them. Yeah, I don't know.
Ms. Billabong,
Yes, sir.
how long have you been a crime scene analyst?
About 9 years.
And during that time period, these kinds of searches would be standard operating procedure for you?
To assist them with the detectives, yes.
Yeah. And once again, with regard to your training and experience, when you are conducting this kind of investigation, you're looking for things of evidentiary value, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, the evidentiary value part, though, is dependent upon what you learn at the scene from the primary officer or the detective that's conducting the search.
Correct.
And so whatever you're doing is within the parameters that they're asking for.
Yes.
Now, in this case, we've seen some pictures of some books and a jacket. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And when you arrived on scene, you were on scene for the later half or the latter half of the search.
Yes.
You weren't there for the beginning part of the search.
No, sir.
So the photographs you took are photographs that were of the areas and the rooms in the house after the search had been conducted.
Yes.
Fair to say, of course, is that each room was in disarray.
The search had already been started, yes, sir.
Yeah, and you don't know what they look like prior to you arriving on scene, but definitely after, there's things strewn around.
Yes, sir.
In your 9 years of experience as a crime scene analyst, when officers are conducting a search, they typically will be as thorough as they can be to look through everything in an area.
Yes.
Do they ever return those things back to how they found it before they entered into say, the room or the house?
I would say it depends on the level to which they've moved everything. Like if the entire closet's been empty, they don't typically put everything back.
They do not typically put everything back?
Not typically, no, sir.
Okay, so you don't have any photographs that you took after everything was over where the room was put back into place how these police officers found it?
I have photos immediately before we left the residence after they'd finished searching, but not with everything placed as officers found it.
I see. And so what you were documenting basically was, for lack of a better word, the thoroughness of each police officer's search of each room.
The state that we left it in when we were clearing, yes.
Okay. Now, some of the things that we were showing in this case, did you ever at any point find electronics or were asked to take pictures of electronics at the residence?
I believe the only electronic item I photoed was a laptop in the shed. All of the others were photoed by CSA Scott.
Okay. But as far as you know and what you recall, there were electronics found at the house, like say, I don't know, iPads and laptops, that kind of thing.
Laptops, definitely. I'm not sure what other types.
But you're not the crime scene analyst that would have captured that and put that into evidence?
I didn't recover the laptop itself, no, sir.
Okay. And as far as you know, do you know how many electronics were in the house when you were there?
I don't.
Do you know whose responsibility that would have been?
Whoever was in charge of the search warrant, they had it listed on the return.
Okay. And just for the jury's edification, a return is a document that's left at the house or the area to notify the owner that certain items were taken as a result of the search.
Yes, sir.
So it's almost like a receipt.
Yes.
Okay. And your job really stops with regards to the actual search itself. You don't do anything further when you go back to your office with Metro or anything like that.
Aside from impounding whatever I recover, no, sir.
Okay. And just for our edification, when something's impounded, the concern, of course, is to maintain what's called chain of custody, right? Meaning that if you find something on scene, you want to make sure that that piece of evidence is exactly how it was as you found it at the scene and not molested or changed or anything like that.
Correct.
So sometimes, like in other investigations, you might have gloves on to protect you from transferring DNA or fingerprints onto the actual item of interest.
I'm usually always wearing gloves, but yes, different DNA considerations, depending
So
on.
when you're telling us that you went back to make sure that certain items were impounded, items that you had taken and put it into an evidence baggie?
Yes, sir.
You took that to the evidence vault.
I would have sealed it, and then we have a temporary hold that's locked, so I would have sealed it with all the identifying information and then placed it in that hold, and an evidence technician would have continued the chain of custody.
And in terms of sealing it, you have a certain tape, color of tape that you would put on the opening of the packaging to indicate that it's been sealed by you.
Yes, sir. Ours is red, and then I sign that with my initials and the date that I'm sealing it.
I see. And then do you put your initials on the actual tape itself or somewhere on the tape side of the...
Across the tape and the package, so if it's moved, it's evident.
Okay. And now, at some point in the future, if someone comes along, they can go into that evidence vault and remove your package out, right?
If they check it out, yes, sir.
And if they were to open it, they would have to open it from some other side of the packaging.
Typically, yes.
And then when they seal it, to return it back to the evidence vault, they would actually put a different type of tape on it to indicate that it came from somewhere else.
I've seen red and blue used, so depending on the circumstance, yes.
Okay. Now, the bins of photographs that we see in the pictures, and I think this is State's Exhibit number 199.
Sorry.
Showing you what's been marked in already as State's Exhibit number 100. This is one of the photographs you took.
Yes.
Did you rifle through or look through those photographs to see what was in them?
I did not know.
That would have been somebody else's responsibility.
Yes, sir.
You're just there to take a picture of what was in it.
Yes, sir.
Now, showing you what's been marked and admitted as State's Exhibit number 99. Is this the other bin that was in the garage that you took a picture of?
Yes.
Okay. And once again, these are bins that you are directed to by detectives to take pictures of.
Yes.
Okay. Showing you what's been marked and admitted as State's Exhibit number 98. Do you see over here on the top right, these are the two bins over here that we're talking about, right?
Yes.
do you see this bin over here?
Yes.
Did you ever take a picture of what was inside that bin?
I don't believe so.
Okay, so the, what we have in terms of evidence in this case would have been the state's exhibit number 99 and 100, but not exhibit number 98.
I'm sorry, what's your question, sir?
Meaning that we have the open bins for, this would be 99 and 100, but not for this particular bin over here.
As far as items recovered, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, I'm showing you, if I may approach, Your Honor,
You may.
I'm showing you what's been marked as proposed defense exhibits F through W, UU. If you could just look through those photographs real quick. And just kind of remember it.
Judge, I told Ms. Kemp I'd stick with recognition. F through G.
Okay. Do you want to just have them admitted then at this time?
You might want to still review them.
Okay.
I believe these are a mixture of both mine and CSA Scott's photos
Okay,
from inside the residence, but they're consistent
all right.
with the residence.
And just with regards to the record, this has been admitted by stipulation between the state and the defense, and that would be Defense Exhibit F through Defense Exhibit UU.
They will now be admitted.
It will now be admitted?
Yeah.
Thank you, Honor. All right, and just for our edification, showing you just for a couple photographs here, this would be Defense Exhibit G. Sure you can see what we're talking about. This would have been a photograph taken after the search of the house.
I believe so, yes.
Defense Exhibit I, as in Isaac, is that another photograph taken after the search of the house?
That appears so, yes.
This is Defense Exhibit J, another photograph taken.
Yes.
Along with that, this is Defense Exhibit K, another photograph.
Yes, sir.
Defense Exhibit L,
Yes.
Defense Exhibit M.
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, I have no further questions. Thank you very much.
Okay. Anything further by the state?
No.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, any questions for this witness? Seeing no hands, Ms. Bellabum, you're free to go. Thank you so much for being with us today. State, who's your next witness?
Justine Gaddis.
All right. Before this witness testifies, you may hear testimony regarding drug trafficking, conspiracy, a prior federal conviction, and gang affiliation. None of this is offered to show propensity to commit a crime. and you may not consider it for that purpose or any other purpose. It is only offered to establish credibility of statements made by defendant and motive and identity. All right, come on up.
You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this section shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, I do.
You may be seated.
Thank you.
May I please have you state and spell your first and last name for the record?
Justine, Justine, Gaddis, Gatus.
Thank you. You may proceed, Mr. Dupree.
And how are you employed?
I am a homicide detective with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department.
How long you been with Metro?
Coming up on 20 years. I've been in homicide for over 8.
And can you describe how homicide is set up at the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department?
So we have 4 teams that work active calls. Each team has 6 detectives, and each of those 6, basically, we kind of rotate all throughout the entire day of detectives for who gets the next call in order as it just kind of comes down the line.
Back in 2023, were you assigned to a particular squad?
Yes, I was.
And who was your sergeant?
Back then it was Igor DeCaro.
Is he still your sergeant today?
Yes, he is.
And on your squad, was there a person by the name of Cliff Mogg?
Yes, sir.
And at some point, did you become aware that he was investigating the Tupac Shakur homicide?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to direct your attention to July of 2023. Were you present during the execution of the search warrant at the residence?
Yes, I was.
And while you were present for that search warrant, were there 2 bins located? I'm going to put up Stacy's Exhibit 98. Were there 2 bins located?
Yes, sir.
What happened to those 2 bins?
Those bins were collected and transported to Metro headquarters and ultimately impounded. Or, I'm sorry, the bins themselves were ultimately released back.
At Metro headquarters, those bins were searched,
Yes.
certain items were removed,
Yes.
and then those bins were returned.
Correct.
And then who impounded the items that were taken out of that bin?
Detective Mogg.
When did Detective Mogg officially retire from the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department?
I want to say it was August. I know it was August of 23, but I think maybe August 12th of 2023.
And sometime after August 12th of 23, in September of 23, did you become aware that this case was indicted by the Clark County Grand Jury?
Yes, sir.
Were you and Sergeant DeCaro assigned a role to assist now investigator Mogg if he needed a peace officer?
Yes, sir.
And I'm going to go through just some of those things. But on April 23rd of 2026, did you go to the evidence hall?
Yes, I did.
Who was with you at the evidence hall?
You and Mr. Banu, Igor DeCaro, Mike Samph, his investigator, Aaron Stanton, and I'm sorry, I don't know your name, his female assistant partner.
Megan?
Yes.
Okay. Was Cliff Mogg there too?
Yes, he was.
And what was the purpose of us all going down to the vault?
To review the evidence that has been impounded for this case.
And were you the peace officer, you and Mr. DeCaro, the peace officers, or Sergeant DeCaro, sorry, the peace officers that were present for purposes of touching the evidence, opening the evidence, reviewing the evidence with the defense and the state?
Yep, and then I resealed the evidence. That's correct.
Show you what's been marked as state's proposed exhibit number 132. Is that the original impound from Detective Mogg that we wound up opening and going through everything in?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to go through all these. This one I'm going to do last because there's a lot. Showing you state's proposed exhibit number 135. Was that an item that was in this impound package?
Yes, sir.
Move to admit 135.
Any objection?
No objection.
So admitted.
Showing you what's been marked as State's Proposed Exhibit 136. Is that an item that was in there?
Yes, sir.
Now, State's Proposed 134 is a package. It's a proposed package.
Just want you to look through there. For 134A, B, C, and D, all within that package.
Yes, sir.
Move to admit, I guess I should do 134 and A through D so we have the package to keep in there.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
W 134A, B, C, and D.
And one of those items, 134D, is a magazine about Biggie Smalls.
Correct.
There were some miscellaneous items collected, but I think we are all putting in 133, but I don't have a cover for 133. Madam Clerk, is there a cover for 133, or do we just have them separate? Oh, the back. Perfect. Something to keep it in. $133, I think, is technically the bag, but there's a Lakers ticket that's marked.
Yes.
That was in there.
Yes, sir.
133A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, and L were all within this package.
Yes, sir.
Move to admit 133 and 133A through L.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
So admitted.
And then lastly, was there this
Photo book, yeah.
photo book, 137,
Yes.
and then were there a number of items that were inside this photo book?
Yes, sir.
And the clerk and the defense and I have had these marked as 137A through, I think the last one is U. If you want to briefly flip through those.
Okay.
Is 136 admitted? I believe I offered it.
Yes. It's not. It is not.
Oh. I think your acknowledgement was in there.
Yes, sir.
Move to admit 136.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
So admitted.
All of those were within this called scrapbook, for lack of a better term.
Yes, sir.
So I want to go through
Some of these items, and if you put it on the overhead. Ooh, that's bad. This item 136.
Yes, I actually, I think we should put them here, because otherwise it's just going to slide.
136 is actually what appears to be, well, it says an affidavit and a search warrant
Correct.
from the Compton PD.
Yes, sir.
And it appears that it's dated May 27th of 1997.
Correct.
It appears that it's at 1524 South California Ave in Compton.
Yes, sir.
And on the back, there is a handwritten return.
Yes, sir.
One of the items that was recovered, it says number 4, money due bill for the Monte Carlo Casino.
Yes, sir.
Let's go through the items that were in the scrapbook, and then I just messed up their entire order, so I guess it doesn't matter which order. Let me just show some of the newspaper articles. So, State's Exhibit number 137H.
I'm sorry. You said 137?
137H. Did we?
I don't have that listed as VHS.
Didn't I offer everything 137 and 137A through you?
You listed it, but you didn't
Yes.
ask for it to be admitted.
It'll be admitted at this time.
Thank you.
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay, perfect, by stipulation.
This appears to be an article about Mr. Shakur's death.
Yes, sir.
G. Another one about the death of Mr. Shakur, and this one's actually dated September 19th of 96.
Yes, sir.
Home 37U. Is another article that was found in there talking about Mr. Knight being kept in jail.
Yes, sir.
One 137 appears to be a newspaper article about a bad rap for new artists.
That's correct.
One 137B, an article about Mr. Shakur being in a fight with the MGM.
Yes, sir.
One 137C, an article about a death row exec didn't leave, and this is from September 14th of 1996.
Yes, sir.
This one. This is 137D. I don't want to peel it back, but I guess we can peel that back. It appears to be the community mourns, and there's a picture of his death is going to send a strong message to the rap community. It looks like an art industry.
Yes, sir.
And if we, I don't know if I can zoom this in, to be honest with you. It appears to be discussing the death of Tupac Shakur.
Correct.
One 137E, star rapper Tupac Shakur badly wounded is a newspaper article.
That's correct.
And are you aware that Tupac Shakur died on September 13th?
Yes, sir.
So So this appears to be prior to September 13th.
Yes, sir.
One 137F. Let me back out just a little bit. There's an article about police raids targeting or sparked by Tupac Shakur's death.
Yes.
And this one actually has a handwritten date that says 9/3 of 96.
10/3 of 96.
I'm sorry, 10/3 of 96.
Yes, sir.
One 137I. Well, you can probably read it without me pulling it out. This one is rappers and Muslims gather for peace, and it's this, dated September 23rd of 1996.
That's correct.
Oh, 137J. There's been an article titled Night, related to Suge Knight.
Yes, sir.
Hold up to see the whole thing. 137K. It's an article entitled 22 Held in Shootings Possible Shakur Payback.
Yes, sir.
As well as another piece of article, Complex Life Comes to an End.
That's correct.
And it looks like it discusses the death of Mr. Shakur on the back.
Yes, sir.
One 137L. This appears to be an article about the death of Biggie Smalls.
Yes, sir.
One 137A, or sorry, 37M. This one says, man who fought with Shakur on videotape is released.
Correct.
If we zoom in, it discusses the arrest of Orlando Anderson for a different crime, as well as discussion of retaliation in the neighborhood.
Yes, sir.
One 137N. There's an article about gangster rap performer Notorious B.I.G. being slain.
Yes, sir.
One 137O. An article about gang ties suspected in killings.
Yes, sir.
One 137P. an article from September 16th, 1996, obviously related to Tupac.
Yes, sir.
Q. This is about a rap lawyer's contending detective lie.
Yes, sir.
And it starts off with, they seek dismissal of judge's ruling in probation case saying Las Vegas investigator committed perjury about Marion Suge Knight's alleged role in the assault before Tupac Shakur slaying.
Yes, sir.
R. This appears to be sort of a combination of both Biggie and Tupac's murder, but bullet-riddled rap is how it's titled.
That's correct.
And then it says, is the rivalry escalating despite so-called truce?
That's correct.
This was originally folded. Just a couple more, Detective. 137S. An article entitled Living Dangerously.
Yes, sir.
And it appears, if you look really close at the bottom, this is from People magazine in September 23rd of 1996.
That's correct.
T, the last on this one, an article entitled on March 10th of 1997, No Easy Answers for Violence in Gangsta Rap.
That's correct.
Now, in addition to being the, let's call you impounding officer at the vault on April 23rd, did there come a point in time when you went as a law enforcement officer to California to interview certain individuals?
Yes, I did.
Do you recall the individuals you interviewed?
Yes, I did.
Can you tell me who they were?
We spoke with Yosef Yah, Rashina Smith, Corey Edwards, Roger Williams. I believe there was one more. I can't remember.
Mob James?
Yes.
James McDonald?
Yes, James McDonald. That's who it was.
In addition to that, did you become aware that in this proceeding, well, let me ask you this, as a homicide detective, do you know what a compelling order is?
Yes, I do.
What's a compelling order?
It's basically an order issued by, well, in this example, it's issued by the state of California, compelling witnesses who live there to appear in front of the court.
We have to ask our court to issue some documentation, and then we have to ask their court for a compelling order.
Correct.
Judge, I'd ask you to take judicial notice that you've issued compelling orders for Trayvon Lane, Roger Williams, James McDonald, Corey Edwards, and Fergie Brooks.
Let me make sure I have all those, actually. All right.
There might be a sixth one, actually. Oh, Malcolm Greenwich would be the sixth one.
All right. Edwards. I'll take judicial notice of that one. Roger Williams. I'll take judicial notice of that one. James McDonald. I'll take judicial notice of that one. And then there's another block of them a little later.
Correct. I think Fergie Brooks and Trayvon Lane came a little later.
Trayvon Brooks. I'll take judicial notice of that.
Fergie Brooks.
Sorry, Trayvon Lane. I'll take
Okay, Trayvon
judicial
Lane.
notice of that. And, all right, Virgie Brooks.
And then recently Malcolm Greenidge.
Recently, Malcolm Greenidge. Michael Payne.
What?
Michael Payne.
Malcolm Payne was a transporter.
Okay. Malcolm Greenidge. All right. I'll take judicial notice of that.
Of all six.
Yes. So,
Did you become aware that certain of those 6 individuals weren't cooperating even though they had been served papers by California?
Yes, sir.
And so did you coordinate with anyone to assist California authorities in locating these individuals?
I did.
Oh, and let me back up. There was also someone in New York that there's a compelling order for, correct?
I'm not sure if the order was served or issued, but yes, I know the individual in New York.
Did you locate someone by the name of Anthony Gomez in New York?
Yes, sir.
And he is currently on probation.
Correct.
And there's an effort to locate what jurisdiction he was in order to get a compelling order.
Yes, sir.
All right. What did you do with the people who weren't cooperative despite the California authorities ordering them to come to Nevada?
We went up on their phones, which means we received orders to where we can ping their phone location to try to identify where they were specifically at.
And for those people, well, how many pens do you think you did?
I think about 5.
And do you remember which 5 you had to do pens on?
Corey Edwards, Virgie Brooks, Roger Williams,
Was there Malcolm Greenidge on
yes, Malcolm was, yes. And I can't remember the last one. I know we've already spoke about him though.
Well, no. How about Devontae Lee? Did you have to do one?
Yes,
Now, Devontae Lee was local, so we didn't need a compelling order.
correct.
Last Friday, did you coordinate with our local authorities as well as authorities in California in order to effectuate an arrest warrant in California for anybody?
Yes,
And who did you try to effectuate an arrest warrant on?
Corey Edwards.
And was he located at his residence?
No,
Was there any other person associated with Corey that was missing from his residence?
yes, there was.
And who is that?
His mother.
And is your understanding that she is 95 years old and an invalid?
She's in poor health, yes.
On Monday, was there an effort at another location in Compton to effectuate an arrest warrant for Mr. Edwards?
Yes, there was.
And was that successful?
No, sir.
Thank you, Detective. I'll pass the witness.
Thank you.
All right, cross-examination, Mr. Stamps.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you doing, Detective Gaddis?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing all right, thank you. Thank you for appearing here today.
Yes, sir.
Now, your testimony is based on your work with Clifford Mogg from 2023 on.
Well, I've worked with retired Detective Mogg since 2018.
Okay, so in 2018 to 2023, what did you do in furtherance of this case?
I personally did not do a extensive amount of anything. It was primarily being investigated by Detective Mogg.
Right. And so from 2018 to 2023, you didn't do anything of real note. Would that be fair to say?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, as a detective with Metro, obviously you have to qualify to become a detective in the homicide division of Metro.
We have a testing process.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where just because I asked to be on the homicide team doesn't mean I'm going to get on the homicide team unless I demonstrate qualifications to get there.
More or less, yes.
Yeah. Now, in terms of your training experience, though, fair to say it starts in the police academy as you're getting ready as a cadet before you become a full-fledged officer?
It's a police recruit, but yes.
Okay. And while you're in the academy, you learn skills that would help you become a successful police officer in our community. One of those things that you learn, of course, is how to write reports.
Yes, sir.
Officers' reports are a crucial tool that you would use in furtherance of your job as a police officer in Las Vegas.
Yes, sir.
With regards to police officers' reports, sometimes you don't have to write a report. I would assume, like for instance, if you pull someone for a traffic ticket and on the citation you could write some notes or something along those lines, that wouldn't require you to do a police report
That's correct.
or officer's report.
Yes.
All right, but in terms of when you're conducting an investigation, fair to say that typically a officer's report would be written?
Typically, yes.
Yes. Now, can you explain to the jury why an officer's report would be important in the furtherance of an investigation?
The officer's report primarily is for our own reflection to recall really all the steps that we took throughout the entirety of an investigation. So it's a document that we can refer back to without going to each and every document specifically.
Now, fair to say, though, that the officer's report also helps in the event that, say, for instance, you get promoted to become a sergeant and someone else takes over your caseload because you're no longer the detective, right?
Yes, sir.
They would look at that officer's report to help them get up to speed as to what your investigation was at the time you get promoted to become sergeant. Or lieutenant.
Yeah.
Or captain.
I'll never see that, but yes.
Well, I'm just hopeful.
Yeah.
Be hopeful. But with regards to your officer's report, for instance, when you are about ready to move on in the next phase of your career, for instance, those officer reports typically are prepared and completed upon your departure to whatever it is you're going to do next.
Most of the time, they try to get those done. Sometimes they're not.
Sure. Now, in terms of sometimes or not, can you tell us when is there an exception to the rule of when you do your officer's report after, say, for instance, when you retire?
Haven't retired yet. I don't know. Yeah, I'm sorry.
But fair to say, of course, if that in the event of an actual complete departure from the department, meaning you move on in your life doing something else, that those officers' reports should be completed prior to you departing the department.
I know the department would like them completed, but again, sometimes they're just not.
Yeah.
I've seen many cases where there's still open officers' reports with people who are no longer on.
Sure. And so with regard to those open officers' reports, fair enough, they get created at some point in the future. How about like 1 year after they retire?
I don't know. Are you asking like would they or could they?
Well, have you ever seen an officer's report being filed a year after an officer retires from the department?
Authored by the original investigator? No. A lot of times, like there'll be either one of the guys from cold case that will kind of pick up a case
Right.
and finish that up, and so then that will be completed after the originating officer retired.
Okay. Well, what about 2 years after the main officer or detective in this case retires have you seen anyone actually, finish up his officer's report 2 years after he retires?
And submit it still as an officer? No.
No. 3 years?
No.
And it's fair to say that there's common sense reasons for that, right? You want to make sure that your report is accurate, right?
Yes.
Because accuracy is important in what you do as a police officer.
Correct.
You want to make sure that your report is written in such a way, like you said before, someone could take that report and continue on with the investigation, who is still a detective.
Yes.
Okay. And also that report, in essence, becomes sort of a documentation of all the effort that that detective puts into the file, right?
Generally most of it, yes.
Yeah.
It might not have everything in it, but there's the vast majority typically goes in the officer's report.
Sure. Now, in this particular case, as you're sitting here right now, you work for the Metropolitan Police Department.
Yes, I do.
You work for the District Attorney's Office?
No, I didn't.
And the reason why you don't work for them is because they're two separate agencies, right?
They are.
They have two different purposes, correct?
Correct.
Your job as a police officer with Metro is to investigate and determine facts, fair?
Yes.
Now, at some point in the future, the District Attorney's Office, their job is to determine if they want to prosecute a case and actually litigate it like in front of this jury, right?
Yes. Yes.
That's not your role. Your role is just to find the facts
And present it to them,
and
yes.
present it to the District Attorney's Office.
Yes.
Okay. Now, they do have investigators that work for them,
Yes, sir.
right? But fair to say, those investigators are not doing what you're doing, right, which is looking for facts.
Well, I object to looking for facts. And one calls for speculation.
What's your response?
I'm just asking for her experience as a detective as to how investigators fit into the overall picture of what we're talking about here. I don't believe it's speculation.
Can you rephrase it? Because I
Sure.
forgot the original question.
So with regards to your role and the experience you've had as a police officer, have you ever seen a Clark County District Attorney investigator be the primary person to put on an investigation?
Like as the lead investigator, no.
Yes, that's correct. So no, the answer is no.
Correct. Not in my experience.
And not in your experience. Now, in terms of what you're doing here, your testimony here was specifically about the search warrant and what happened when you located, whatever it is you located during the course of the search warrant, right?
Yes, sir.
So in the search warrant itself, did you apply for that search warrant?
No, I did not.
Now, typically, as a detective, when you're applying for a search warrant, you fill out an affidavit,
Yes, sir.
and at the end, you sign it, attesting it to be true and correct to the best of your ability.
Yes, sir.
And you detail in that search or that application for a search warrant, the location and what you intend on finding as a result of going into somebody's house.
Yes.
Okay. That would be the purview of whoever the lead detective is at that particular time.
Yeah, or who was just writing the search warrant. There's a lot of times people write search warrants and they're not lead detectives, but yes, I agree with what you're saying for the most part.
And in this case, Detective Mogg was the responsible detective to petition for that search warrant.
Yes, he was.
And he was the one who signed that affidavit.
Yes, he was.
Now, you were on scene as a detective to help him with that, with the execution of the search warrant.
Correct.
And it isn't just you and Detective Mogg, there's other people from Metro that's present as well.
Yes, sir.
Other detectives as well.
Yes, sir.
As well as the crime scene analysts that we have on scene.
Yes.
And they're all looking for information.
Correct.
Now, the information that you're looking for is based upon my client's residence, right, Mr. Davis' residence.
For that search warrant, yes.
And you're looking for evidence that would take you back 30 years to whether or not that person was involved in the murder of Tupac Shakur.
Yes.
Okay. So the information that we've received here today is the fruits of your labor from that search warrant.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, in addition to that, there were numerous different electronic devices that were taken from the scene.
Yes.
Now, are you aware that one of the intents or one of the focuses of the search was to look for evidence or facts specifically about the writing of a book?
Yes.
Okay, meaning the book that you had shown to the jury, that particular book, there was a search or at least an intent to look for evidence that would help support whether Mr. Davis had a manuscript.
I don't think I reviewed a book up here when I was being shown the evidence. I know the book that you're referring to.
Right, and I'm just showing you, once again, I just, if I could have,
since I'm like.
I have it. Good. I'm proud of this. Showing you what's been marked and admitted as State's Exhibit 104, this document or this book right here.
Yes,
Okay. So this book was the one of the focuses of the search.
yes.
And in the application for the search warrant, fair to say that as a detective, you would read the parameters in which Mr. or Detective Mogg at the time had requested in terms of the purpose of the search.
He would have documented that in there, yes.
Yeah. And for instance, would a review of the application and affidavit of search warrant help refresh your recollection as to what Detective Mogg had requested from a court to allow him to search for?
I actually have not read the full document before.
Oh.
I can review it if you'd like. But yeah, I, up to this point, have not read the full document.
Okay. So you're saying, though, that the person that could best tell this jury what he applied for would be Detective Mogg?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Now, in addition to that, looking at the State's Exhibit number 104, the name that's on top over here, did this name have any significance to you in participating in the search warrant in this case?
Yes.
What significance does this name have to you?
We knew that was Duane Davis's nickname or street name.
Is that correctly spelled?
I don't know.
Yeah, and then with regards to this person right here, do you know who this person was?
Yes, I do know.
Who is that person?
Yosef Yal.
Now, with regards to Yosef Yal, can you tell the jury a little bit about who he is?
He was the co-author, to my understanding, he's the co-author of the book.
Okay. Now, you had a chance at some point to speak with Mr. Yao.
Yes, sir.
And just for my recollection, do you recall when you spoke to him?
It was on about Memorial Day of this year.
So 2026?
Yes, sir.
Memorial Day. Do you recall when the grand jury occurred with regards to this case?
In 2023.
All right. And so explain a little bit to the jury what a grand jury is.
It's a jury that have been assimilated here at the Clark County Regional Justice Center. They hear cases, and they determine if there is sufficient cause to issue an indictment on the accused.
And typically that would be something, if you were the primary detective, you would have been involved in this particular one, but you were not.
That's correct.
Okay. That would be something that Detective Mogg would be responsible for.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, in addition to that, with regards to Yusuf, we had read off a bunch of names the state had, and I want to make sure I'm clear here. Was his name read off as one of the names that they had issued some type of warrant or something for in this case?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Okay, so you interviewed Yusuf about May of this year. He's on the book cover, but you don't ask the court for a warrant for his arrest in California,
No, I did not.
or some type of notice in California, hey, you need to show up to court.
No, we did not.
Okay. And did you ever at any point go down after your meeting with Yusuf to knock on his door again and say, hey, Yusuf, can you please come to Nevada based upon our interview or discussion?
No, I did not.
Now, in addition to that, when you went down to speak to Yusuf, at that particular time, you're with Clifford Mogg, right?
That's correct.
Now, at that particular point, Clifford Mogg is not a detective at Metro.
Correct.
He had been retired at that point how many years?
2.5, maybe?
Okay. And so you accompanied him down to California to do that interview with Yusuf?
With several people, yes.
Okay. But you're going down as a police officer with the Metropolitan Police Department at that particular point?
Yes.
But not Clifford Mogg. He's not a police officer at that point.
Correct, he was not.
He is an investigator with the Clark County District Attorney's Office.
Yes, sir.
Now, based upon that particular interview, did you conduct that interview?
No, primarily Detective Mogg did, or Investigator Mogg did.
Sure. And after that interview, did you draft an officer's report documenting what you learned in the course of that interview?
No, I did not.
That would be something that Detective Mogg or Mr. Mogg would have done?
Sometimes we don't write an officer's report just for like an interview synopsis. We'll typically get those transcribed.
Okay. Now, in this case, for instance, the officers report are pretty important, right?
Yes.
And we talked a little bit about going to the evidence locker, and we were all present at the evidence locker, right?
Yes, sir.
It's my assistant, the guilty looking one over there with glasses, myself, and my investigator, as well as Mr. DiGiacomo, Mr. Renew, Clifford Mogg, and yourself.
And my sergeant, Igor DeCaro.
Yeah. Now, after that particular incident, you wrote an officer report, right?
That one I did, yes.
Right. Once again, it's important to document what happens on a given event.
Correct.
Okay. Now, in this particular regard, did you at any point of your participation in this case and that submission of that report ever view a officer's report from Clifford Mogg?
No, I have not reviewed an officer's report from him.
Are you aware that Clifford Mogg began his responsibilities as the main detective on this case in either 2017 or 18?
To my understanding, yes, that's correct.
And he had been the investigator from that time period, and we'll just give you the benefit of that, 2018, all the way up to 2023 when he retired.
Correct.
But as of right now, as you sit here, you've never read an officer's report from Detective Mogg in between that time period?
Pertaining to this investigation, no.
No. Now, in addition to that, there was some discussion about people. Was there ever a compelling order or a warrant issued for Suge Knight in this case?
Not to my knowledge, or if there was, I didn't have a role in that.
Right, and fair to say you know exactly where Suge Knight is today.
Yes,
He's actually in custody.
correct.
Okay. Did you ever at any point issue a compelling order or a warrant for Foxy Brown?
I did not.
Okay. You know who she is?
I don't.
Okay. That would have been something that maybe Mr. Monk would know of.
Yes.
Okay. How about for an individual named Big Meech from Detroit?
I don't know who that is.
Once again,
I
that-
have not issued a, yes.
So
And the
that-
same answer that Detective Mogg would be, he would have more knowledge on that.
Now, the articles that we took a look at here that the jury was introduced to, do you know any reason, besides the fact that they were taken from my client's house, do you know who put those articles together?
I do not.
Do you know the purpose of those articles?
I do not.
Okay. Now, fair to say, in the course and scope of your investigation as a detective now, one of the things that you would look for if you were looking at a suspect would be through their phone. Right?
In today's age, yes.
Yeah. And one of the things you look for either on their phone or on their computers would be maybe search history.
Yes.
And what you're looking for is if a person is Googling an address and Googling up a shooting that took place on the corner of Charleston and, I don't know, Wallaby, and they're doing it over and over again, that would lend some issue as to why you're looking up the details of a shooting that, say, nobody knows, right?
Yes.
And that would help you determine whether that person has knowledge of a shooting that pretty much nobody else would know.
I can't say nobody else would know, but it would show that they do have knowledge of the incident occurring.
Right. Now, in terms of those articles, though, can you say that that's what that was for?
I cannot.
Now, in addition to that, in your experience, we had spoken a little bit about this folder here. I'm going to show you again for the jury. This is State's Exhibit 37. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. 137. You remember this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and I just want to make sure I'm not colorblind, but is this blue?
No, sir.
Yeah. There looks like there might be like a candy cane on top of it,
That's correct.
and something else that's there. It looks like a little snowman or something like that. Do you know what the purpose of this folder was?
No, other than it being just like a scrapbook type.
But nothing else besides that?
I don't know any other relevance to that.
Okay, and just for the record, it's got green in here as well. It looks like a pretty festive notebook or
Yes.
folder.
Yes.
Okay. Now, in your, one of the things that you had shared with us as well is the search warrant in this case that was found on scene. This would have been this would be State's Exhibit 136. You recall looking at this particular document here?
Yes, I do.
In terms of this document, this is a document that looks like this occurred back in May of 1997.
Correct.
And this obviously was in a different state. This is California.
Yes, sir.
And this was a search warrant of what looks like to be a house that would have been attributed to my client.
I'm not sure who it is, who resided there then. I know the address is there, the California.
Yeah, it would be the California address that's on the next page, right? I just don't want to rush it. But let's turn to the last page here. One of the things that was made mention by the state, and just pointing the jury to the receipt of property taken, that's like our property return.
Yes.
Or search warrant return. Okay.
That's correct.
And in it, it identifies various different things that was taken from that particular residence.
Yes, sir.
Now, one of the things that's in here, for instance, is this line number 4, money due bill for the Monte Carlo Casino. Do you see that?
Yes, sir.
Do you have that?
No, I do not.
Was there any copy of that in the house that you searched in 2023?
Not that we found.
And with regards to that particular description there, can you tell us, for instance, just by the description alone, when that money due bill was dated?
I don't know from that description. We just know when the search warrant was issued, so I would assume previous to that
Right.
issue date.
Right, but we don't know an exact date.
Correct.
And the other things that are on here, for instance, the 9 miscellaneous photographs, all these things are things that another detective wrote down in the course and scope of their investigation.
Yes.
Okay. Now, in addition to that, when you were in Mr. Davis's home, you had identified, or there were various different electronic devices that were seized.
Yes.
Okay. Now, with regard to those electronic devices, there were quite a few.
Yes.
Those electronic devices, and I just want to make sure I'm clear here, you had taken a Dell Inspiron 1764 laptop computer.
Yes, sir.
Did you ever at any point cause that computer to be reviewed for information that would help you lead to whether or not Mr. Davis wrote that book or helped write that book?
I did not.
Okay. And just for the jury's edification, let's make sure we're clear. When you're reviewing an electronic device like that, you are looking for files, search history, things that would help you see whether or not Mr. Davis used that particular machine to help write the book, for instance, in this case.
In theory, yes, somebody would do that.
Right. And you also took from the residence a Toshiba laptop computer.
Yes.
Did you find any information that would help you know or learn whether or not Mr. Davis actually wrote Compton Street Legend or anything like that?
I did not write a search warrant to get into the digital items, so I've never reviewed anything from the electronics.
Okay, so I just want to make sure I'm clear. That would have been Clifford Mog's job, not your job.
Yes.
Because at the time, he was the detective responsible for this investigation.
Correct.
Now, but I just want to make sure we're clear for the jury. The other items that were seized at that point that you were at least part of the seizure would have been a Toshiba satellite laptop computer. So that's 3 computers. Another laptop computer, HP G171 laptop computer, an HP touchscreen desktop computer, an iPad, another iPad, and a Sky device tablet. Those were the things that were taken from the residence, right?
That sounds accurate, yes.
And just stop me if you think I'm wrong, if you need to look at something, all right?
Okay.
In addition to that, it looks like there was some drives that were taken as well, a Toshiba external drive, a USB drive, and an iPad with a broken screen, and an iPhone in a black case.
Yes.
Okay. And those were all the fruits of your search of Mr. Davis's residence when you went there.
Yes, sir.
once again, whatever was found inside of those objects would be something that would be Detective Mogg's responsibility to tell this jury, not you.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Ms. Detective Gaddis, I'm done with my cross-examination of you.
Okay.
I appreciate your answers today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Samp. Mr. Jackman will redirect.
Detective Gaddis, Mr. Sam said we're two separate agencies. That's accurate, correct?
Yes, sir.
How often, let me ask you this, do you work very closely with the DA's office?
Yes, we do.
What is the soonest you've called the DA after you've shown up to a crime scene?
Oh, within an hour. Absolutely.
And are we, as the prosecutors, involved in the investigation from the beginning?
Yes, sir.
Or were you aware that prior to the search warrant, or are you aware if prior to the search warrant, Mr. Palal and I were already involved in this investigation?
Yes, you were.
And were you aware the determination or the decision that was made as it relates to Mr. Mogg, Detective Mogg, remaining the investigator on this case?
I don't know how those decisions were made.
Let me ask it this way. Are you aware that that decision was made the day he retires?
Yes. Yes.
And your role and Sergeant DeCaro's role is if we needed a Metro police officer, you were supposed to assist.
Correct.
And do you have any active cases where the reports are not done?
Yes, sir.
And usually the report is done when all of the work is done.
Correct.
And so that's completed when you're done investigating.
Correct.
Mr. Sampt also mentioned something about the fact that your job is to find the facts. Do you remember him saying something like that?
Yes.
Is your job and our job any different than that we're here to uncover facts?
We have the same mission. Do it in different ways, but yes, the same mission.
And are you aware that my investigators oftentimes interview witnesses?
Yes.
And that's not something that's unusual.
No.
Is there anything that you feel was improper with the idea of Detective Mogg becoming my contract investigator on this particular case?
Objection, Your Honor, opinion. I'm not quite clear what the relevance of that question is.
Well, his entire cross was, hey, this is really odd, this is really unusual, there's something wrong here by Detective Mogg becoming Mr. Mogg and continuing the investigation. So I'm asking her, in her experience, is there anything inappropriate about that?
I don't know how her experience is relevant. Yep.
He opened the door by asking her those questions.
Overruled.
I would say Detective Mobb would have been the best fit to do it because he had the most intelligence and knowledge of the investigation.
Thank you. I have nothing further.
Anything further, Mr. Samp?
Yes, Your Honor. Since we walked through this door, so with regards to Detective Mogg in this case, he was the best fit for this investigation?
He had the most knowledge of it, yes.
He had the most knowledge of it because he did not write an officer's report. Eric?
Objection assumes a fact, not an evidence.
Can you approach? All right, it's overruled. You may ask your question.
And I just forgot the question, so let me back it up real quick here. So you're telling us, though, that he was the best for the job?
Yes,
Okay. And that at the time of his retirement, 2023, he was the best for the job?
he had the most knowledge of it, yes.
Yes, and he had the most knowledge of it because he was the primary detective on the case?
For the preceding several years, yes.
Yes. And when he retired, he did not have an officer's report?
I don't know if he did or didn't.
Well, I'm just based upon your knowledge, you're saying you don't know?
Yeah, I know, I've never actually read it. I don't know if he did.
So you don't know if he had an officer's report?
Correct.
And you say he was the best for the case, even though technically there were other detectives on your unit that could have taken over that case?
There are additional detectives, absolutely, yes.
And are you saying that somehow Detective Mogg had something different compared to all the other detectives that could have taken over that case from the homicide division?
Well, I say that about Detective Mogg because he had those 4 or 5 years of experience already invested into the case. So for him to kind of finish it out and to see it through, to me, that made the most sense, in my opinion.
But without capturing it, putting it down on an officer's report?
Well,
You don't know.
objection. She just answered she doesn't know if there is one.
Let me ask you this
Sustained.
question. I'll withdraw the question. In terms of, as you sit here right now, there was a cold case unit, right?
Yes, we do. We have a
And
cold case.
The cold case unit would investigate crimes that occurred, like say, for instance, in this case, 30 years ago.
Yes, I do.
And they could have very easily taken this file as well, right?
So from my understanding, when Detective Mogg obtained this case, we did not have a cold case unit in our section at that time. That didn't come into play until maybe 2020 that we were able to fulfill a cold case detectives.
Okay. And so, in terms of the way you're describing it now, are you saying that Detective Mogg was operating a cold case?
No, he was on an active squad for the entirety of his time in the homicide section. But when he received this case from the preceding detectives, we didn't have a cold case unit for them to have investigated it. So basically, any of the cold cases came down to the next person in line, more or less, and that happened to be Detective Mogg.
All right. And in terms of the Detective Mogg situation, are you telling us, though, that he was hired by Metro as an investigator doing cold cases?
No, he was a detective with Metro, employed as a commissioned officer. He wasn't hired by Metro separately to do cold cases.
And I apologize for that. Let me just back up here. So, are you aware of an officer, retired officer by the name of Dean O'Kelly?
Yes, sir.
And he, at some point, worked on cold cases.
Yes, he did.
And he worked on cold cases after he retired.
Correct.
And prior to that, he was actually a homicide detective.
Yes, sir.
So, and I apologize, maybe I wasn't clear on my question, but are you telling us that that's what Detective Mogg did in this case, that after he retired, he became an investigator, just like Dean O'Kelly, on cold cases?
Detective Mogg did not do that with Metro.
And once again, as you're sitting here right now, you don't know of any officer's report up until the time he retires.
That's correct.
Are you aware of any other reports that he wrote after he retired in this case?
No, sir.
Are you, and once again, any reports at all that would be put in the file to help the next detective with the investigation, anything like that?
I'm not aware of them.
I have no further questions. Thank you.
Anything further, Mr. DiGiacomo?
No.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, any questions for this witness? Seeing no hands, thank you, Detective Gaddis. You're free to go.
Thank you.
Does it make sense to break for lunch at this time?
We have one short witness, but maybe we could do a restroom break and then break for lunch.
Does anyone in the jury have to use the restroom? Yes? Okay. All right. So we will take a break. During the recess, you're admonished not to talk or converse amongst yourselves with anyone else on any subject connected to the trial, or read, watch, or listen to any recorded or commentary on the trial of any person connected with this case by any medium of information, including without limitation, newspaper, television, internet, and radio, or from which express any opinion on any subject connected with the trial until the case is submitted to you. We'll have you guys back here at 11:40. Please rise for the jury. For the record, the jury has exited the room. We'll be in recess. Back on record in C377407. Over the break, one of our jurors let Marshall Spies know that it was juror 5, Sydney Stratton, let the marshal know that she knows Mr. Scott, who was the CSA who testified. I don't know any more information about that. I was just going to have her come out and ask her some questions about their relationship, see if it would affect her ability to be fair and impartial, and then if you guys have any questions about it, just I'll give you that opportunity as well.
Yes, Ryan.
Okay, can we get Ms. Stratton in? Randy? No? You. Okay. For the record, Ms. Stratton has exited the room. You may be seated. Anything else we need to discuss on that issue?
Not from the state. No, you're not.
Anything we need to discuss outside the presence?
Not from the state. No, you're not.
All right, we'll get the jurors lined up. And who is the witness that we're going to do next?
Mark Hatt.
Mark Hatt.
Yeah, he's a firearms person,
Okay.
so he should be short.
All right, then as soon as we get the jury in, we'll proceed with that one short witness, and then we'll take our lunch break. You had said there were 6 witnesses you wanted to get on, and we've done 5?
And then one in the afternoon.
So the 6th is in the afternoon.
Yes.
Understood. Okay.
We believe we should take most, if not all, of that.
Okay, no worries.
Maybe not. I mean, who knows? You know, they talk all day.
Jeff, jury?
So the parties stipulate to the witness of the jury.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, you may be seated. All right, state you may call your next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Please call us Mark Hatton.
You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
You may have a seat.
Thank you.
Sir, if you please state your full name and then spell it for the record.
Mark Hatton, MarkHatten.
Thank you, sir. Whenever you're ready, Mr. Paul.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Hatton, how are you employed?
I'm currently a police officer with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. I was hired in 2007. I also worked as an IBIN technician within the firearms unit of the forensic laboratory at the Metro Forensic Lab for 7 years, from 2018 until 2025.
Can you tell us what NIBIN is?
Yes, NIBIN stands for the National Integrated Ballistic Information Network. It's a program that's overseen by the federal agency, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, otherwise known as the ATF. And this is a technology that contains hardware and software that takes high-resolution 2D and 3D images of a cartridge case that has been fired, or a cartridge, excuse me, that has been fired out of the firearm. It looks specifically at the head stamp area, and I also brought a model with me of a cartridge if the court will allow me to use this, and I could also pass this around to the jury so you can get a closer look and see exactly and understand what NIBIN is looking at.
Mr. Hatton, you're getting a little ahead of me, but let's go. No, it's fine. I was going to ask you, what is a cartridge case?
Cartridge case, it's what this is called is a cartridge, and once it's fired, the bullet gets projected out of the barrel, and the cartridge case gets ejected from the firearm. And basically it contains all the components of a cartridge, including the bullet, the cartridge case. Can I use
Yes,
them?
and so it appears you brought a demonstrative. Your Honor made the witness use the demonstrative for the purposes of explaining it to the jury.
Is it the tube? Yeah. Okay. Yes, you may.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so during the firing process, when somebody pulls the trigger, this bullet will project out of the barrel, and this is the cartridge case. This is the head stamp area. It can be stamped with the manufacturer of the ammunition as well as the caliber, and this is the what NIBIN looks at, specifically the primer area, which contains a small explosive that ignites the gunpowder within the cartridge case.
And then on the back of the cartridge, you had mentioned that, or the cartridge case, you had mentioned that the strike that causes the explosion to expunge the bullet, is that strike unique or something that you look at in determining whether or not a cartridge has been fired from the same gun?
Yes, it's unique because during the manufacturing process of the firearm, it has tooling marks and it's hardened steel. This metal is soft, so this comes out at very high velocity. So when that slams into the firearm, it imparts its unique markings from that tooling process directly onto the cartridge case.
Now, I'm going to direct your attention to case number 960907-2063, where you asked to do some work on that case.
Yes, I was.
And is it fair to say that, and the jury's already heard this and they've been received in evidence, that 7 cartridge cases with a head stamp of 140 SNW were recovered from that scene?
That's correct.
And then initially, when this case first occurred in 1996, they were run through the database that existed in 1996. Is that fair to say?
Not in 1996, it was in 2003, because NIBIN was not created. It was a program called DrugFire, and NIBIN actually was implemented in 1997, but of course it takes time to build up the database, so it really wasn't the database wasn't built up until about the early 2000s. So that's when they actually initially entered this cartridge case into the NIBIN system.
So in 1996, it was DrugFire, and then in 2003, it was re-entered into NIBIN. Is that fair to say?
I don't have any knowledge if this was entered into DrugFire.
So we'll focus on 2003, the NIBIN entry. Did the cartridges used in this particular cartridge cases collected in this case match any other cartridge cases that were entered into NIBIN back in 2003?
They did not.
Did they match any other firearm that was recovered by 2003?
They did not.
Now, in 2023, were you asked to re-enter these cartridge cases or re-examine them within the NIBIN system?
Yes, I was.
And that request, I think, was made by Mark DiGiacomo.
Yes, it was.
And had technology changed between 2003 and 2023?
Yes, so that 20-year period, yes, the cameras and the resolution has definitely improved over the 20-year time frame.
And is it also fair to say that probably in the intervening 20 years, more cartridge cases and more firearms have been entered into the NIBIN system?
Yes, it's the gold standard of that type of ballistics. So everybody uses it now, and yes, there's millions of images in the database.
And did you actually conduct that? Did you actually look into NIBIN to see whether or not this cartridge case matched any other cartridge case that was entered into NIBIN?
Yes, I entered it into NIBIN myself, and we did a nationwide search, and it looked throughout the entire country, and then the NIBIN results had no associations other to the original entry from 2003.
So what you learned from NIBIN is when you entered the cartridge in 2003, it matched the cartridge you entered in 2023.
That's correct.
But nationwide, it did not match any other cartridge case that had been previously entered into NIBIN.
No, it did not.
Sorry, cross-examination, Mr. Sam?
Sir, did you actually look at the actual cartridge casings themselves?
Yes, I looked all 7 side by side, and I screened them and then grouped them into one grouping, which represents one firearm.
All right. And as far as you recall or understand, that the cartridge casings were located at one scene, not multiple scenes?
I didn't look into the case notes. That's to try to keep our distance. We don't do any investigative work at the lab, so we don't want to bias our mind to what was. So I did not review any of the crime scene photos, any of the diagrams. I do not know. All I know is I have 7 cartridge cases. How do they group, and which ones to enter?
Okay. And so out of the 7, all of them look like they were fired from the same firearm?
Yes, they had similar visual characteristics, and I entered one, which I assigned as lab item 1.
I see. So no one of them was different, like indicating maybe another gun was used. All of them were from the same gun.
That's correct.
Right. No further questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything further, State?
No, Your Honor.
Any questions from our jurors? Seeing none, thank you, Mr. Hatton. You are free to go.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Excuse me. a short witness before the lunch break?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sounds good. So at this time, we are going to take our lunch break. During this recess, you are admonished not to talk or converse amongst yourselves or with anyone else on any subject connected to the trial, or read, watch, or listen to any report of or commentary on the trial of any person connected with this case by any medium of information, including without limitation, newspaper, television, internet, and radio, or form or express any opinion on any subject connected with the trial until the case is submitted to you. I'll have you guys back here at 1 p.m. for further testimony. Please rise for the jury. For the record, the jury has exited the room. Anything we need to address outside the presence?
Yeah, yes, Your Honor. So we're going to have Robert Ladd testify at whenever we come back in.
Okay, you can all be seated.
And there was this outstanding issue during our gang motion about the term shot caller. Now, in the interim, we found that Mr. Davis refers to himself as the shot caller in the book. I don't know that that was pointed out. I had not realized that at the time of that motion, so I certainly failed to point that out. But at this point, the state's going to be asking that we allow Mr. Ladd to use that term. When I pre-trialed him last night, I told him he is not allowed to use it unless the court gives a go-ahead, so he's aware of that prohibition. But I think
Was the idea that he was going to be the one to lay the foundation, that he was the shot caller, that
Yes.
allegedly Keefe D
Yes.
was the shot caller?
Yes.
So we can use that term and attempt to lay the foundation, and then I guess we can just, at some point, you can approach and say, has that been conclusively established or something?
Okay, so I just want to know the mechanism. So I'm not going to have him say it at all, and then I will try and lay the general gang foundation, and then I'll lie the foundation for Mr. Davis's role within the gang, and at that point I'll probably just ask to approach out of an abundance of caution, and then see if the foundation's with
Does that work for you, Mr. Stamps?
It does, Your Honor. I do have one for the housekeeping matter for the shot caller issue.
Yes.
Okay.
The other issue is that we're asking the court to see if we could just exclude putting on the record or publishing to everybody the addresses of my clients in terms of where his family still lives today in Compton. So if we're going to talk about a location, that we just use maybe the street name, something like that, to differentiate
I
between the
think
two.
that's appropriate. For the,
That might be problematic.
not to give the exact address.
So can we?
You
So
could say like
without
the
giving
3600 block, maybe?
Can we? I think it's a little complicated because there's a 1405 and a Fort. There's two houses on the same block, and so I think if Mr. Sam doesn't object to us just saying that on the search warrants it's listed as Mr. Davis's house without giving the actual address, or Mr. Anderson's or Miss Anderson's house without giving the actual address, I'm happy to do that. Like, I'm not trying to cause any problems. It's just that I don't want the vagary used against us.
Sure. Would that compromise work for your purposes?
Yes, Your Honor, because I think that's all we're asking, is just to just refer to who the house is.
The exhibits themselves that will be admitted list the actual address, but we won't display those portions of the exhibits publicly, if that helps.
Okay.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. Yes,
Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else on that thing, Mr. Stamps?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Anything else we need to address in general?
No.
Hearing nothing, we'll be in recess. Thanks, guys.
When are we coming back to
1 o'clock. We're on record in State v. Davis, C-377-407. Anything that we need to address outside the presence of the jurors?
Not from the state.
No, Your Honor.
Okay. And we have Mr. Ladd
Yes.
ready to go?
Yes.
Okay, we don't have to delay for him? Perfect. All right, we'll get the jurors lined up and we'll bring them in. They are lined up? Okay, perfect. And just so I'm aware, 1 o'clock tomorrow is the plan?
Yes. 1 o'clock tomorrow. I think this is our last witness for today. I don't know how long it's going to take, but last
Okay.
witness for today.
So once I have them recess after this witness, we'll tell them to come back at 1 p.m. tomorrow.
Correct.
Okay, perfect. Sounds good.
And are we still starting noon on Thursday?
That's the idea. If you guys are ready at that time, so you guys can talk about it and let me know.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect.
Stand for the jury.
So the party stipulated to the presence of the jury.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you may all be seated. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you liked lunch. We are still in the state's case in chief. Mr. Palal, you're standing up, so I assume you're calling your next witness.
Yes, Your Honor. State calls Robert Ladd.
You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may be seated. May I please have you state and spell your first and last name for the record?
Robert Ladd, RobertLadd.
You may proceed, Mr. Palal.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Mr. Ladd.
How you doing, sir?
Sir, can you tell us a little bit about your employment?
Yes, I'm retired now, but I was a police officer for 32 years.
Where did you start your career?
I started in 1983 when I was hired by the city of Compton.
And what was your initial position with the city of Compton?
A patrol officer.
And then did you change positions at some point?
Yes, when I was a patrol officer for several years. And that really was my beginning introduction into the world of the Crips and Bloods, because most of the radio calls that we got in Compton revolved around gang activity. So I got to learn there, you know, the way they dressed, their territories, how to read graffiti. And then in 1988, I was promoted to the gang unit.
And for our edification, how big is Compton?
Compton's a 10 square mile city. It had a population of 100,000 people. And we had 55 active gangs in this little 10 square mile city.
And is it fair to say that most of the gangs were affiliated either with the Crips or Blood or Mob and various subsets of those types of groups?
Yes, it was basically Crips, Pyrus, and Hispanic gangs.
Mr. Palal, you've reminded me that this may be a good time to read the Tavares instruction.
You're right.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are going to hear testimony regarding drug trafficking, conspiracy, federal convictions, as well as gang affiliation. These are not offered to show the defendant's propensity to commit crime or any other improper purpose, and you may not consider it for those purposes. It is only offered to establish the credibility of his prior statement, the statements made by defendant, motive, and identity. You may proceed, Mr. Palal.
Thank you, Your Honor. All right, and then tell us a little bit about your career in terms of, you said in 1983 you became a patrol officer and you were patrolling Compton, which had you responding to a lot of gang-related calls. Is that fair to say?
That's correct.
And then you ultimately go to the gang unit, is that correct?
Yes.
And were you assigned a partner?
Yes, my partner was Tim Brennan.
And then who was the lieutenant in charge of the gang unit at that time?
Lieutenant Reggie Wright Sr.
During your time as a gang detective, did you also respond to a lot of gang activity in Compton?
Yes, when I got into the gang unit in 1988, Compton was a very violent city. We were averaging 70 to 80 homicides a year and hundreds of shootings. So my responsibilities now were to investigate all gang-related crimes, gather intelligence, and photograph and identify gang members. And I also went out on a daily basis and tried to contact gang members and talk to them when I arrested them. And also I tried to talk to them out in the field so I could kind of build a rapport with these gang members out there.
Okay, so I mean, you'll have to forgive me, but when I think of a officer or detective rolling through Compton and trying to start up a conversation with a gang member. It seems weird to me that the gang member would want to interact with you at all. Like, how did you develop that rapport?
Well, it doesn't happen overnight. It takes several years. You just gotta treat them fair, and you have to talk to them like you'd want to be talked to. And we didn't sweat them on the small stuff. We let patrol kind of do that. For instance, if they were out there just drinking some beer or smoking some marijuana or whatever, we'd come up and we'd talk to them and say, man, we're not going to sweat you on that stuff. And so over time they say, all right, this guy's pretty cool, we'll talk to him.
And then your partner, Tim Brennan, he ultimately was given a nickname Blondie, is that right?
Yes, DJ Quick wrote an underground song about it, and it was called Blondie. So everybody in Compton knew my partner as Blondie. He kind of became famous over it.
Can you tell me a little bit about any type of gang training that you've given as somebody who has dealt with Bloods and Crips in Compton specifically?
Yes, it was from 2001 to about 2010 that my partner Tim and I, we taught at many national seminars right here in Vegas and in California also. And this is where thousands of police officers come from all over the country as well as around the world to learn about the Crips and Bloods. And so we taught them about that.
You had mentioned that in a city as small as 100,000 people, you would have somewhere between 50 to 60 or more homicides a year and then additional hundreds of shootings. Can you tell us a little bit about that, about the volume of these types of cases? Were they mostly gang-related shootings and homicides?
Most of them were, yes. And in 1993, I was promoted to gang homicide detective and started handling all the gang homicides, too. And I did this till the year 2000. And so I spent 12 straight years in the gang unit. And during that time, I handled hundreds of homicide cases and thousands of shootings. And I actually talked to thousands of gang members, and I got to know really the way they talk, the way they think, the way they act, basically their overall mentality about gang life in general.
I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the difficulties associated with investigating gang cases. As somebody who did hundreds of investigations and homicides and thousands of shootings, did gang cases in particular present investigatory problems?
Absolutely. Gang cases, they're the hardest to solve, especially in Compton, because there's a code out in the street where you're not supposed to talk to the police, you're not supposed to go to court, or you get labeled a snitch. And the other problems that we have is that the good citizens that actually see what happened and want to come forward, they're afraid to. They get intimidated by these gangsters, and so they're really hard. We really don't have any witnesses, so we kind of rely on a lot of informants to get our information out there in the streets.
And then you mentioned relying on informants, but is it fair to say that if somebody wants to, if a case needs to be prosecuted or brought to court, somebody can't remain a confidential, reliable informant? They actually have to reveal who they are.
That's true.
And as part of your investigating homicides and shootings, was that a problem to get people to come forward and testify as opposed to giving you information on background?
Yes, it's very difficult because when they come to court, if you can get them to come to court, they don't want to get involved. They don't want to say anything, so they're not cooperating.
And you said being labeled a snitch was something that was frowned upon. In your training and experience, were there any other types of consequences for people who are labeled snitches in Compton, California, in gang life?
Absolutely. These guys take the code very seriously, and if you get labeled a snitch, it's probably the worst thing that can happen to you as a gang member. You're probably going to have to leave the state if you want to get, if you don't want to get severely beaten down all the way up to getting murdered. So they take it very seriously.
Now, I'm going to ask you now about gang in particular. I'm going to ask you about the South Side Compton Crips. During your time in Compton, California, were you familiar with the South Side Compton Crips?
Yes, sir.
And can you tell us a little bit about the South Side Compton Crips?
Yes, the Southside Crips, they're located in the southeast portion of our city, and their area, they're one of our larger gangs. It's probably a half mile in every direction. There was an excess of 100 documented active gang members at the time, and they identified themselves by wearing the color blue. So when you contacted a Southside Crip member, he's going to have something blue on, a blue shoestrings, a blue rag, blue, anything blue identifies him with being a Crip gang member. And also the Southside Crip members adopted the Seattle Mariners baseball cap. It's a blue cap, it had an S on it, and to them the S stood for Southside Crips.
Now, I'm going to direct your attention to specifically the mid-90s, 1995, 1996. Were you familiar with somebody by the name of Duane Davis?
Yes.
Were you aware, was he somebody that was a high-ranking person in that gang or a low-ranking person in that gang?
Well, as high as you can get, yeah.
Now, what are the different levels of gangsters in Southside, or just general gangs? Are there different levels?
Yes, there's definitely a hierarchy within the black gangs in Compton. There's really 3 phases that these guys go through. The first phase is the BG, or baby gangster phase. And this is the time when they're just joining a gang, and usually, most of the time, not all the time, they get jumped in. And by getting jumped in, you have to show how tough you are. So it probably lasts about a minute, maybe 2 minutes, where 5, 6, 7 gang members are going to try to beat this guy up, and he's got to fight with them to show how tough he is. And if he passes, he gets to join the gang. And these are the ages between 12, 13 to 15 and 16. And this is the beginning stages, so they're out there doing low-level crime, such as graffiti, selling drugs for the older gang members, and being lookouts.
And then is there a level above that?
Yeah, the next level we call the gangster phase, and that's from the ages from 15 to 16 to about 25 or 26. Now this is a stage where these guys do the most violence. They're the ones out there that are committing the drive-by shootings and murders and robberies and carjacking. What they're trying to do is they're trying to earn their stripes for the gang so they can get kind of respect within the gang. So this is the most violent time for these gangsters.
And then is there another level in the hierarchy?
Yes, the last level is ages 25 to 26 on up. And these are the guys that, a lot of them went to prison during their gangster phase, and a lot of them are getting older now, and they put in the work. They call it earning their stripes within the gang. They're getting their respect. Now they're the older gangsters. And these guys become the leaders or shot callers of the gang. And they tell the younger officers what to do. And again, they take this very seriously. If the older OGs tell younger gangsters what to do, they do it without hesitation. If they don't, there's going to be severe consequences. I've seen all the way from severe beatdowns all the way up to murder.
Right. Now, in that hierarchy, so we have baby gangsters, just what was the middle one called? Just gangsters?
Just gangsters.
Gangsters, and then like OGs. Did you happen to know in the mid-90s where Duane Davis stood in that hierarchy?
Yes, he was a shot caller.
Your Honor, when we approach?
You may.
All right, so you're saying that Mr. Davis was a shot caller within the South Side Compton Crips.
Absolutely, yes.
And what does that mean?
Well, he could tell the younger gangsters what to do, and if they don't listen, like I just said, there's going to be severe consequences. The younger gang members are supposed to do what they're told without hesitation.
Now, were you aware of whether or not Mr. Davis was a narcotics trafficker?
Yes, he was definitely a high-level narcotics dealer. Compton, we were a small city, and we didn't have the manpower or the resources to go after a major narcotics dealer like Mr. Davis. But during my time in the gang unit, we were approached by two different agencies, the FBI task force, really, the DEA and FBI task force, and they would come to us because they wanted information on Mr. Davis's fellow gang members who he hung around with. And basically they would tell us that he's trafficking narcotics across the United States all the way to the East Coast.
Now, I want to talk a little bit more about Mr. Davis. Would you see him sometimes in Compton?
Yes, many, many times I've seen Mr. Davis.
And can you, do you see him in the courtroom today?
Yes, I.
Can you please point him out and identify an article of clothing he's wearing?
Yeah, he's male black sitting at the end of the table wearing, it's either gray or black suit.
Your Honor, may the record reflect the identification of the defendant in this case?
It will.
All right, and how would Mr. Davis dress in normal, like, gangster attire, like you were talking about before, or would he dress differently?
No, in his later years after he became the leader, whenever I'd see him, he'd be nicely dressed. Have the brim hat on, and he wouldn't have anything gangster-like on. He was always well-dressed.
I'm going to ask you now about somebody by the name of Orlando Anderson. Were you familiar with Mr. Anderson?
Yes, I was very familiar with Mr. Anderson. I had many, many contacts with him.
Okay, and can you tell us how you first became aware of Mr. Anderson's involvement in gang activity, if such activity existed?
Yes, I guess you could say I was there for his initiation into the gang. My partner Tim Brennan and I, we were at a fast food restaurant getting something to eat, and we're in the drive-thru. And this particular restaurant was right adjacent to the South Side Crip territory. And there's an alley that runs just adjacent to it. So as we got our food, and we were driving out of the fast food restaurant, and all of a sudden we heard a barrage of shots. We can hear them hitting our car. Then we heard about 5 or 6 shots, right? So after the shots stopped, we looked at each other, jumped out of the car, made sure we were all right, and we ran to where the shots were coming from. And witnesses were pointing down the street, and I saw 3 male blacks running down towards a known gang hangout. So these guys ran in there. We called the troops. We subsequently arrested Orlando Anderson and 2 other people, and during their interviews they said that was part of their initiation. They didn't have to be jumped in if they tried to kill me and my partner. So they were automatically in the gang, and Orlando Anderson wasn't the shooter during this incident.
Was not.
Was not.
Yeah. Now, were you familiar? Well, did Orlando Anderson, to your knowledge, have any relation to Duane Davis?
Yes, we found out that it was Orlando Anderson was Keefe's nephew. I'm sorry.
That's fine. And Keefe is what Mr. Davis went by?
Yeah, Keefe D.
Yeah, Keefe D. Is that kind of how you're used to referring to Mr. Davis?
Yes, I'm kind of known by their nicknames, really.
Okay. And then, were you also familiar with somebody by the name of Terrence Bubble Up Brown?
Yes. Had many contacts with Mr. Brown. He was kind of an older gangster, call him a wobbler. I still considered him in the gangster phase, but he kind of was a little older too.
And I guess in the mid-'90s, what phase or what level would you say Orlando Anderson was?
Definitely gangster phase.
And then Did he go by any nicknames that you're aware of? Orlando Anderson?
Yes, Baby Lane.
And then, were you familiar with somebody by the name of DeAndre Smith?
Yes, DeAndre Smith, many contacts with him. Again, admitted to me, he's a South Side Crip member. His nickname was Big Dre.
Why was he called Big Dre?
Because he was a big man, and he was like 6'4", probably 300 pounds. He was a big guy.
Were you also familiar with a gang called Mob Piru?
Yes.
Can you tell us about Mob Piru?
Yes, they're a gang in the city of Compton, and they're located in the northeast portion of our city. Their gang used to be called the Looters Park Piru. That was their territory. In about 1975 or 76, a group of kids over there wanted to start their own gang and have their own territory, so they started at Mob Piru, which stands for Members of Bloods. Now, their area is probably a quarter mile in each direction, and there's probably 45 to 50 active gang members in this gang also, and they identified themselves by wearing the color red. So, and just like the Crips wore anything blue, the Pirus or Bloods wear everything red.
Now, we're going to talk a little bit about the flare-up between Mob Piru and South Side Crips, but even before any of the music or any of the particular 1990s issues that we're here to discuss, would it be fair to say that Mob Piru and South Side Crips were natural rivals?
Yes, the Bloods and Crips never got along since they originated way back in the early 70s. They're kind of like just natural enemies because one wears red and one wears blue.
Were you familiar with whether or not Mob Piru associated with any particular record label in the mid-90s?
Yes, Death Row Records.
And do you know who ran Death Row Records at the time?
Yes, Suge Knight.
And were you familiar with Suge Knight prior to his ascension in Death Row Records?
Yeah, we had contact with him before, but not many, because he really wasn't a gang member. He didn't really hang out, but he grew up in that neighborhood.
I'm going to ask you about some of the people that you would associate with the Mob Piru. Earlier, I think now it's last week, we met with somebody named James McDonald. Are you familiar with James McDonald?
Yes, very.
Do you recall what his nickname was?
Yes, Mob James.
Now, would you go to the McDonald house in Mob Piru territory?
Yes, Mob James's house was kind of like the main hangout for the Mob Piru, Looters Park Piru. He had two younger brothers, Buntry and Timmy Rue. So this was the main hangout for the Mob Pirus, and we would go there. If you wanted to find a Mob Piru, that's the first place you'd look. So we had many run-ins at this Mob James house.
And were you familiar with somebody by the name of Trayvon Lane?
Yes.
And States Exhibit 60? Do you recognize the person depicted in States Exhibit 60?
Yes, that's Trayvon Lane. His nickname's Trey, and he's a member of the Mob Piru.
Are you familiar with somebody by the name of Roger Williams?
Yes, I am. His nickname is Neckbone, and he's also a member of the Mob Piru.
No, actually, I think I skipped something with Trayvon Lane. You had talked about the 3 levels of being a gangster. What level would you say Trayvon Lane was in the mid-90s?
Gangster.
So like the middle, most violent level.
Yes.
And then with in the mid-90s, what level was Roger Williams?
Definitely gangster.
In the mid-90s, what level was Mob James McDonald?
I would consider him an OG.
And then in, you'd mentioned Buntry. Is that Alton McDonald?
Yes, it is.
And in the mid-90s, what level would you describe him?
Gangster.
And then are you, now in that neighborhood, same neighborhood, there was a person that lived there or grew up there named Reggie Wright Jr. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Were you familiar with Reggie Wright Jr.?
Very, yes.
And when you say very, how are you familiar with Reggie Wright Jr.?
Oh, he used to work at the Compton Police Department. He was a jailer, and then he went to be a full-time police officer, I think, in around 1988. He was only there for like 5 years because he got injured and had to retire.
Now, I'm going to ask you something, I guess, culturally about gang life. How important is one's reputation in the gang world?
Very. It's these guys live for respect. That's how they live their lives.
And then, if somebody felt as though they were disrespected, what would you expect them to do?
They have to retaliate. If a gang member is disrespected, they have to retaliate, or they're considered a punk out in the streets. And if you get considered a punk out in the streets, you kind of lose your respect and credibility.
And what's the consequence of losing your respect and credibility in the streets?
Well, I mean, no, you're going to be nothing in that game, really.
And then, we talked about the hundreds of murders that you've investigated and the thousands of shootings you've investigated. Was retaliation, in your experience, ever a motive for those shootings or murders?
Yes. I've investigated like 1,000 crimes, and I would say 90% of them are because of disrespect. And so when you get disrespected as a gang member, you can expect some sort of retaliation.
Now, you had heard gathering intelligence about this Lakewood Mall incident. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
But you weren't there, were you?
No.
And just so we're all clear, Lakewood Mall, is that in Compton?
No, it's several miles out of Compton.
And so that wouldn't be something for you to investigate?
No.
But as a gang expert and a gang investigator, what to you is the significance of somebody trying to rip off a gang member's chain?
Well, it's definitely disrespect, especially the chain that they were trying to take at the Lakewood Mall. It was a highly prized medallion, and these guys wore it like a badge of honor. So them try to steal this chain and beat up this subject, it would be a major display of disrespect. So now this guy's got to go back to the Mob Piru and Death Row Records and tell them what happened. So the next time they see each other, it's going to be on site. As soon as they see each other, some confrontation is going to happen. And
you had said that we're talking about the chain. We're talking about that Death Row chain. Is that right?
Yes.
And you had mentioned that they were wearing it with great pride. By they, who are you talking about?
The entourage of Suge Knight. That's Trayvon Lane. Well, back in '95, Suge Knight gave these out as Christmas presents to his entourage, Trayvon, Neckbone, Buntree. They gave one to Reggie Wright Jr. So not too many people had him at this time. So it was a prized possession to these guys.
Now, I'm going to take you forward to September 7th of 1996. You become aware of a shooting that occurs out here in Las Vegas, September 7th, 1996. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
How do you become aware of the shooting that occurred here on September 7th, 1996?
Well, I was at home, and I get a call from my boss, who's Reggie Wright Sr., and he tells me that, hey, Suge Knight and Tupac were just shot. Tupac's in critical condition, and get ready because it's coming back to Compton. He told me that they thought the South Side Crips were responsible for the shooting.
And so when he's telling you this, do you now have to have a response to this? Or why is he telling you specifically to get ready?
Because when you disrespect and shoot the biggest rap mogul on the planet and the biggest rap star on the planet, and he surrounds himself with the Mob Piru, then there's going to be some sort of retaliation. And all these guys were from Compton. So when they got back to Compton, we expected a war.
And was there a war?
There definitely was a war.
Can you tell us about that? So in the immediate aftermath of the Tupac Shakur shooting, did you notice an uptick in violence in Compton?
Yes, 2 days after Tupac was shot was our first shooting. One of the OGs was at a store on Alondra Boulevard in Compton, and he was shot in the back several times, and a 10-year-old little girl got caught in the crossfire, and she was hit, and she was in critical condition. And the guy that was shot was a South Side Crip member, and again, he was a shot caller for the South Side Crips. His name was Darnell Brim.
Okay, and we've heard Darnell Brim's name before here, but was Darnell Brim part of the same subgroup of the Southside Crips as Duane Davis?
No, he was a Southside Crip gang member like they all were, but there was two factions of it. There was a group called the Burrs Crew, which Mr. Davis ran, and then there was a Glencoe crew that Darnell Brim ran.
And is it fair to say that at some point there was a conflict